Cool. Alright, so that's working. I'm gonna share this on Twiltor before I do anything too much more. Trying to balance everything, and I just, like, absolutely shoved down a sandwich in, like, 8 minutes. So if I'm gaseous, that's why. You're welcome for that information. Also greasy. That's my fault, though. Like, I fry everything in fucking bacon grease. I make bacon, and then I fry everything in bacon grease. So I basically just... I have a small stock of bacon that's grown that I'm going to be using to fry some chicken here shortly, some chicken thighs. And to make sure that they get nice, even coating of heat. But I basically use, like, whatever grease comes out of the bacon, and it ends in pieces, so... I got lots of fat and cholesterol. Oh no, cholesterol. Everybody gonna die from the cholesterol. We're all gone forever. So, let me fucking throw this a few places. It's already on the... If you want to leave a chat comment and have that responded to, feel free, because there are 3 people here already listening to this shit for some reason. So I might as well interact while I'm also sharing it in places. That. And them. These. And those. Parvis. Cool. Alright. So, for those of you who don't know, haven't been here for a previous one of these, this is where I read comments and respond to them. Which is something you're not supposed to do. Like, one of the first things they tell you as a content creator is not to respond to comments. Not to even read comments. So that's interesting. It's interesting to break that rule. What am I doing? Right, comments. So, I'm going to put this in. As unquestioned God Emperor of the Earth and Moon, I endorse your stream. Okay. Brian L. is here. Got fucking facial bumps. Alright, let me move this to another tab so that I can see chat and that at the same time. See, you don't need Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is overrated. That's what I'll say. Any of you want me to make a video on why I don't like Dr. Seuss, feel free to ask for that, because I can go on for fucking hours. Let me fucking scroll to the bottom here. There's a lot. Okay. So, a comment on the last vlog stream. Gatekeeping, antithetical to libertarianism. This allowed someone like Gillette Jarvis to march in and replace everyone. Early on, Vaush was even edgier than claiming libertarian. He was an authoritarian anarchist. That's a contradiction in terms, so... I mean, the fact that somebody calls themselves something doesn't mean they are. I have no such confusion between left and liberal. Fabianism isn't either. It's whatever suits their needs at the moment. Okay. I'm not sure what you intended to convey with that. Then why make comments? If I'm assuming you're responding to the thing of you're not supposed to respond to comments. So, the general vibe is that if like, the comments can be a cesspool, and if you go in there, you're gonna see all the people who are leaving negative feedback worthlessly. Just like, you know, you fucking suck, I'm unsubscribing, kill yourself, that sort of thing. Those sorts of negative comments can get to some people, but I'm sort of insane. So I figure that until this gets massive and I've got like way too many comments to respond to in a reasonable amount of time, I might as well use the comments as ways to get audience engagement and content out of it. But like most people, most content creators literally just don't check the comments. Like you leave that angry comment and it doesn't get seen at all. So I mean, ultimately, most of the time it's actually not useful to post comments. But in my streams, it is, because I'm an asshole and I want to prove that what I'm saying is true. So I wade into that, and I'm willing to have that sort of thing happen where I like have a bunch of negativity. It's how I know that so many people don't like me, because I've been going through the comments for a long time. What is? That's the question. So we got Elastic Giraffe. I thumbs up this already, because I saw it in time, but Elastic Giraffe says, I don't care what these histrionic edgelords think of federal age of consent laws. They can shut the hell up. There's a difference between bold messaging and radical public douchebaggery. Yes, I agree with that. Stephen Dawkins says, then you are okay. Yeah, well, and I'll probably still read the comments even when, like, there's a fuck ton of them. But, like, in the end run, there's probably going to be a point when I stop the active streams. I've got a question about what I do for my beard. If I can find it right now, I'm kind of disorganized. If I can find it right now, I will show you what I do with my beard. Okay, whatever, I'll just say it. I use an afro pick on my beard, but that's basically it. Like, so I'll comb it out, like, frequently. I can't find it right now, but normally I'll have it. If I can find it before the stream is over, I'll do a beard combing. But basically, I just, you know, throw a pick through it for, like, you know, every a couple minutes or so, I want to say. But I don't, like, add any oil. Most of it is just the foods. I wouldn't call it an epic beard. I think it's kind of patchy in certain places, but you can grow a thicker beard if you eat better food for beards. Like, lots of fiber and green plants and shit. Lots of testosterone-enhancing foods, proteins, that sort of thing. Brian L. says, right on, I 3D printed a beard gum. Cool. Although, isn't that expensive? Like, how much do you pay for that filament to come out with that comb? Or is it just for, like, the achievement of having printed something that you're now using? Because that's fine, but I am curious. I don't know what Charlie Chan wants, but I'm assuming that I don't care, because it's just this barrage of YouTube links. And then it ends with a Bible verse saying, Revelations 18:4, come out of her, my people. That sounds like a porn. So, I mean, I might watch those at some point when I have, like, 8,000 hours, because I'm assuming that's what it would take. But, it's on the Sovereign Citizen video. The previous one was on yelling at more libertarians, unfortunately. You can watch that video if you want, but either way, the one that I'm talking about right now is on yelling at sovereign citizens for half an hour, where I did just that. So I think they're probably just mad at me for not understanding things the way they do, and instead of explaining it personally, they're throwing a bunch of links at me. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I'm not going to check right now. Brian L. says it's the super cheap 20 to 30 buck per kg, and the comb is like 3G. Oh, well, that's not bad at all. I might have to look into that. There's some stuff I want to make, too. Like, if I got a 3D printer and it's that cheap, there's some stuff I could make. And once I get my business address, which, by the way, if you want to support my efforts to do that, it's about $100 to get started. But I'll be good for a few months after that point. Either way, once I get that, I can start sending things out, so I can include little perks for, like, the top donor per month gets their own figurine printed or whatever. I don't fucking know, something like that. But yeah, it's that's interesting. I didn't know it was that cheap. I thought the filament was more expensive than that, and it always seemed impractical to do the 3D printing thing. Troll the Purpose on a 20-minute Father's Day rant, vlog 45, says, fathers get the shaft equals saying anything when you're getting pegged means you're not a real man. Okay. Mr. Knight on yelling about the state for 30 minutes, vlog 46. Corporations are also given authorization by the government. The reason depends on what the corporation is supposed to do. Apparently the 50 states are corporations. The same article that said that about the 50 states also denied that the US government was a corporation. So I take this comment with a grain of salt. Well, it's still an interesting idea. And, you know, technically, it's the same fucking shit anyway. It's still an entity organized by the state to conduct its affairs as an arm of it. So I don't understand why it wouldn't be functionally a corporation anyway, even if it wasn't legally one. You get special protections and shit, like privileges, liability immunity, like shit like that. The state governments get that all the time. So, I mean, even if it's not legally that, it's still basically that. Vampiric Agorist says, this was certainly a blast from the past on a 20-minute Father's Day rant, vlog 45. I haven't heard anyone take on this topic in years, unfortunately. Men's rights stuff used to be a pretty popular topic of discussion online in like the 14-16 era, but all mention of it seemingly fizzled out, and nowadays you barely see anyone discussing the issue from any perspective. I've been led to believe that the popularization of the issue and its abrupt departure from mainstream discourse are both by design. This isn't to say that the issue itself isn't important, as I personally know many men who have dealt with issues that break up their families over stupid shit, but I do wonder exactly what the state was trying to accomplish by promoting this issue in the mid-10s. Yeah. I mean, they could have been just like pressure releasing. That's my conspiracy theory. Like, they gave people their day in the sun temporarily. They knew they couldn't stop with women, that's too profitable. But they could start with men for just long enough that they could get their yayas out and fucking act like they were being heard. And it's like, well then, why aren't we listening anymore? You know? It's that sort of vibe with me. Got a comment in chat. Oh, sorry. That's just the 3D printer comment. Alright. So Mr. Knight says, on yelling at Ron DeSantis for 40 minutes, where I talked about the fact that Ron DeSantis is a copsucker and hugely funds the police, which is antithetical to liberty, while somehow still getting libertarians on his side. Mr. Knight says, the liberty through authority people don't understand anarchists. Yes, yeah, it's exactly that. Troll the Purpose responds to that. Mobs can interfere with liberty every bit as much as government or corporations can. People will choose government over corporation and corporation over mobs just for being a predictable and known thing to be worked around. Okay, but that doesn't change the, like, thing Mr. Knight said. I'm not sure what point you're driving at specifically there. Like, I know mobs can interfere with liberty, but that doesn't actually remove the truth there. The fact that mobs can interfere with liberty doesn't mean you should contact the literal mob to stop them. And the fact that, like, you know, there are problems in terms of, like, groupthink doesn't mean that your inherent groupthink organization isn't worse because they're doing it literally all the time. So I don't think that it's every bit as much, no. You know? I really don't. But, like, you know, I see where you're coming from, so I guess I'll thumbs that. Troll also says, the not Portland laws. No one wants to live in Portland, so here we are. Pretty sure that a lot of people do. And also, I know somebody who lived in Portland through all of that shit. And one of the things that he hated was comments like that, because he moved to Oregon from the South, Portland from the South, and he says he feels much safer walking around there than he did in the South. They give you this dramatized version of all things. Like, the same people who are, like, bent on talking about how the media is corrupt and, like, has all this terrible influence to it aren't willing to admit that maybe the picture the media gives them of places isn't exactly real. You know? I mean, we all like to talk about Operation Mockingbird and, you know, the CIA press and shit like that, and that's reasonable, and I hope people keep doing that, but if you do that and then also say that everything you're seeing out of a place like Portland during a riot is exactly how it always is, or the Seattle situation with the Chaz, the only thing you're doing is lending the media credence, and I hope you don't. So that's my take on it, because from the people I know that live there, it's not that bad. I mean, Seattle was kind of bad in that one area for a bit, and certain people reported that it wasn't very good, but, you know, even then, the majority of Seattle wasn't that one location, so, like, you know, there's something to consider there, that maybe you're hyper-focusing on what the media wants you to hyper-focus on, rather than being holistic about your general approach to it. I hope you start to see the media as a malevolent entity run by the state, because those are corporations too, my guy. Ian B on the same video says, yeah, that's some crappy freedom if you ask me. And you know, he had previously commented on Twitter, he's a good guy, we go back a distance, that I'm losing track here, that that we're all jumping on the hate DeSantis train, and I'm like, yep. But I already hated him. He's a politician. I don't like politicians. I don't like government. So DeSantis, adding him to the pile is just like, you know, another guy. So the fact is, he's massively funding police, and he's overfunding police by any previous metrics. So yeah, it's definitely not okay from a libertarian perspective. I don't care what else he does. I don't care if he cucks to your, like, particular view of fucking culture war, SJW, or whatever thing. He's doing bad things because he's helping the people who will put the boot on your throat. Like, those are the people who will come and take it. So he says, yeah, that's some crappy freedom if you ask me. As much as I hate the rioting and all the garbage that went on under Marxist BLM, the fact that these idiots did this post January 6th raises my eyebrow. F. Ron DeSantis. Well, welcome on board the anti-Ron DeSantis train. Liking and hearting. Cold Highway on the Father's video says, in regards to men's rights and how the state fucks over men, I would recommend you check out the Based Pluto's channel. He would be someone good to do a video with on men's rights. I actually already had him on, but I would be happy to have him on again. His perspective is interesting here. We've actually already talked about this in messages, but it might be an interesting thing to do. Let me write a comment here. What do you say the Based Pluto? Oh, it's not doing the drop down in the fucking comment thing. I will ask him once this video is over. I'm gonna put a pin in that. But yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to do that. We got 2 comments here. Stephen Dawkins says, you're saying the South is bad. I was raised to respect my fellow man. I am 61 years old. I have never disrespected anyone. I'm not saying the South is bad, no. That'd be collectivist and weird. I'm saying Ron DeSantis is bad, and government is bad. So, like, I hope that clears that up. Brian L. says, I have several ideas in mind to improve politicians. Most involve chainsaw and a fire and angry bears. Also a device I call a shock strap. Yeah, hey, whatever. That sounds better than Congress. But yeah, no, I wasn't dissing the South. I was dissing a politician in the South. I wasn't saying Florida is bad. I was saying Ron DeSantis is bad. Cold Highway says, you can count on conservatives on that video to lovingly lick the boot while it's stomping their neck while saying, hey, at least it's not the left. Yeah. Well, and the worst part is that even when it's Democrats, it's still not the left. I mean, they're still fundamentally doing all the stuff the Republicans were doing. I recently retweeted a thing that I saw, which was really fucking cool, which was one of the artists for the Sonic comic was was mentioning the fact that Biden had gone back on every one of his promises, and he drew this picture of Biden taking off a blue mask to reveal the red underneath. It's really fucking good. It's now an emoji in my server. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. And it's pretty much not been the left for decades. So, Mr. Knight on the yelling at Biden for 25 minutes video, because I like to balance things, you know? I yelled at Ron DeSantis. I'm going to yell at Biden. I yelled at the Libertarian Party, but I also yelled at the Democratic Party. I yell at everyone. So, Mr. Knight says, an assault weapon is the big scary gun with a metal body. A wooden body isn't scary because old, I guess? You have great taste in music. Well, thank you. Hey, I hope to continue rocking in the free world. Let me fucking thumb and heart that. Decadude says, spitting big facts, Jeremy. Well, I'm spitting facts too, statistically speaking. Aaron LaRusso on Rip McAfee says, completely justified killing if true. Don't fuck with doggos. Yeah, well, and also property. Like, the guy probably trespassed in order to, like, damage the guy's dog. And all because he didn't like the fact that the guy had a lab in his house. Well, fuck off. That's his house. You know? And he also said cypherpunks are based. Yes, yeah. Although, again, like, there could be an EMP that, like, destroys all the non-Faraday protected stuff. So it's still something to consider that this is still vulnerable. But at least they're trying, you know? That's important to me. On the same video, Crypto God subbed for the respect for the legendary troll that was McAfee. Libertarianism, much like anarchism, is a tainted term devoid of its original meaning and power due to years of being propagandized and being maligned. I can agree to that. But also, you know, the fact is that it's been that way for decades. Like, ultimately, what we're talking about here is, like, a term that existed for 100 years plus before the Libertarian Party did, but now people only associate it with the Libertarian Party. It's very unfortunate. The party is shit, and it doesn't do good things. So the fact that it's the one thing that people associate, rather than all the libertarians who are anarchists, that's severely bad in my book. I have no problem saying that. He says, in my opinion, here are a few reasons principled people should just drop these tainted terms and simply identify as a more principled term like voluntarist. I think you probably mean voluntarist. You can tell me if I'm speaking out of school here, but, like, ultimately I think that's what you're talking about. Let me read your list. Voluntarism is more resistant to negative propaganda thrown against it. Voluntarism is more succinctly expressed. I think you meant to say more succinctly expresses the principles that matter. Voluntarism is more coherent to communicate because it is more in line with assertive communication techniques. Assertive is ultimately the best way to communicate, as opposed to passively or aggressively. And voluntarism is more decentralized in nature and doesn't rely on party politics. Well, one thing I will say is that I think you mean voluntarism, because voluntarism is like a religious idea. But voluntarism was literally started by libertarians, agorists specifically, like Wendy McElroy, and it was all, like, designed to support libertarian ideas. I think that's what you're talking about, which means that it's not directly in conflict with libertarian. I mostly, you know, if you want to talk, like, directness and not passiveness, I just say I'm an anarchist. Because I don't care what connotation people associate with the desire to end rulership and oppose archonic structures. I mean, it's what I do. So, like, there's no reason to sugarcoat that. But, like, that's my general impression. I think you would do well to look into Wendy McElroy and her original work with Samuel Edward Konkin III, who also didn't have a problem with the libertarian term voluntarist, because it was libertarianism, essentially. So, something to consider. But, like, it's a good comment anyway. I'm going to like and heart that. And then the last comment so far. Holding shooters AR-15 for whatever reason. No BS there. Those pigs are trigger happy and mentally deranged. Yeah. Well, he might have been just trying to disable it. That would be something to consider. Like, if he's trying to end the carnage, he might be trying to disable the gun in case the guy gets up somehow. I don't know. So that might be it. Brian Else in the chat says, now I want to do a wood grain PLA Glock frame on my printer, so it'll be all harmless because wood. Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, we're done with comments here. So if y'all want to chat and let me know what you want me to respond to, feel free. But we're done with comments at this point. I actually scrolled a bit and didn't see, or I saw more comments than there were, I guess, because I thought that this was going to be a long video. And there's nothing held for review or anything. But if you guys want to talk, feel free. For now, I will say that there's lots of stuff coming in terms of the stuff. And if you want to see more of this, feel free to like, share, subscribe, etc. And there's a lot of stuff coming directly in the form of content. Like, this is all about, like, engagement and making sure that I keep a constant stream of content. So if you decide that you want to see more content, there's going to be a fuck ton more. Like, the daily vlogs are still uninterrupted. Like, I haven't missed a single day. So, I do a vlog every single day, except Saturday when I do this stream, and I do, like, the gaming streams on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I am interviewing another public school teacher to talk about his general misgivings with the system, man. He was referred to me by the previous school teacher, so if you want that, feel free. But that and so much more are coming. I'm doing work on the documentary. I'm trying to make that work. There's a lot of stuff. So if you want to get involved, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to be in these videos. But if there's nothing that the chat wants to discuss, then I think this is about it. So let me know. I'll give it about like 30 more seconds while I drink some water and then rap for a bit more. But basically, that's what these streams are for the new people here. I have no doubt I lost some subscribers. I'm kind of brash and don't really filter myself. So I'm going to check that. But that's my feeling. That's my general suspicion. Nope, I didn't lose anybody. Cool. Alright, well, welcome to the shit show. This is exactly how it is all the time. But I hope to be able to be honest and realistic and logical with you. That's what I hope. I just hope to not be wrong. So, in any way, I think that about wraps it up. Brian says, peace out, bro. Well, peace. I think that is a good time to say smash the state.